Hey, Webmont World Entertainment, and of course Alien Romulus 2, or whatever it'll end up being called when it gets released, is on its way, and we now do have confirmation that Fede Alvarez will not be directing, but he is writing. However, there's a reason he has stayed on board to write it, and what he says is basically a stupid reason, but it also removes any tension the next movie will have, because his reason for staying on board to write it but not direct it is he doesn't want the characters of Andy and Rain to be killed off. So I suppose, spoiler, but he has confirmed then that these two characters will survive. He's also confirming that these two characters' story will continue. But it's the fact that he's come out to say, I did it because I don't want our characters to be killed off. It's like, wow. So you've just removed any tension from the movie. Because now you're going to be watching it and saying, well, they're never going to be in peril, so why should I care? But let's have a look at this article and what he says. This is over at AVP Galaxy. So it's saying, following the recent surprise news that Fede Alvarez was not returning to direct the sequel to his successful Alien Romulus, the rumor mill and fan theory machines have been going wild about his stepping down from the director's chair. While Fede has yet to direct a single sequel to one of any of his films, it hasn't stopped the fan theories that there's been some falling out with 20th Century Studios or Ridley Scott. Last weekend, Fede Alvarez and his Alien Romulus co-writer Rodo Sayasugas, or however you pronounce it, appeared at Horrorbound Weekend. We're speaking on the sequel. Fede reiterated his previous comments about every other director and Ridley simply being one and done, stating that, I don't think I was ever going to. I always knew right when we finished. This is one of those things where you come in and you do one and you get out. Cameron, Fincher, all those directors I love, they went and did one. Obviously, Ridley created it. He has the right to make a bunch of them. Now, straight in there, to start with, no, Ridley Scott did not create it. Ridley Scott was brought in at the last second to direct it. That's it. He did not do anything with the story, the character, nothing like that. Every single thing was in place. Ridley Scott was at the very last minute brought in to direct because the original director stepped down for whatever reason. As for saying the others came in and they only ever intended to do one and done, not really, because James Cameron, I do believe they did try and get Cameron back for an Alien 3, but he moved on to do other things. I believe he was starting to prep for Terminator 2 at that time. Of course, before him, they did ask Ridley Scott to do Aliens, and he said no. Fincher was an obvious choice not to bring back because the movie was a disaster, and, the studio took over the movie from him, so yeah, it's not a one and done situation where the directors are like, I'm coming in, I'll do that, and I'll leave and do something else. So he's very wrong on that take, and the take of, well, Ridley Scott created it. He didn't create it. So, elaborating on he and Rodo being behind the metaphorical typewriters rather than in the director's chair, Fede told the audience that his passion for Andy and Rain motivating him to stay on board to write the follow-up. So this is where he says this part about the characters. Oh, by the way, when he says this, he also takes a shot at Alien 3. So this is what he said. We did want to write it. Honestly, it's because we love the characters we created, so we want to make sure no one kills them right at the beginning of the next one. They went and killed Hicks and Newt just like that. Hey, let's not let that happen. We wrote it and made sure they stayed alive, and now we can let someone else make it. So right there you see him saying, obviously, we don't want him to be killed right in the beginning, like Hicks and Newt. That's him taking a shot at Alien 3, which is funny because then he said like how much he loves Fincher and stuff like that. But right there he says we didn't want anything to happen to our characters, so we wrote it to make sure they stay alive. Well done. You've just removed any stakes and tension from the next movie, because now we know, number one, we now have absolute concrete confirmation that yes, it is a continuation of Romulus, that we are following Andy and Rain, but we now have confirmation that those characters will not be lost in this next movie. So it's like, what's the point then? Like, why would you tell us that? You could say you wanted to stay on writing it to continue the story of your characters, but the fact that you flat out said it's to keep them alive, you've just destroyed anything with this movie, because now we're going to sit there and go, well, whatever situation Andy finds himself in, he's getting out of it. He might be injured, he might be broken in half like Bishop, but he's going to make it. And Rain, whatever situation she finds herself in, she's going to make it. She's not going to die. She might get injured, but she's going to make it. So why would you do that? Why would you give that type of information away? That is just ridiculous to do that. He should have just said, well, we wanted to write it because we were interested in continuing the story of Rain and Andy, and we wanted to see where they go next. And he also contradicts himself, because originally, like, he's saying he never intended to make Alien Romulus 2. That's not what he previously had said, because he said flat out he was starting to work on Alien Romulus 2, that he had ideas and he was looking forward to getting back into that world. That's what he said. Then he started saying he doesn't know whether or not he will direct it or not, but it looked like he still was, and now he's confirmed that he won't be directing it. So he's very much started off with, I'm looking forward to directing this, like going back to that world, working with these people again, blah blah blah. And now it's flipped to, oh, I never intended to direct it. I'll write it, but I was never intending to direct it. So a bit of a contradiction there, but again, it's just so strange that he would make the comment that nothing's going to happen to these characters. Why you would do that? Now, obviously, that means every other character in it's going to be free game, but do we really care? And at the end of the day, what is supposed to happen with these characters? Like, as far as I was concerned, their story had ended. They got off the station, they were put into their stasis, and they were going off to the planet that they were trying to get to in the first place, which will take, what was it, 7 years? It was 7 or 8 years. And that's why they ended up on the station in the first place and had to go deeper into it, was the power sources they found would only get them to 4 years. So they needed the extra ones. But they left. They're gone. There's nothing left. So are you going to say they just happened to randomly get picked up or land somewhere where there's more xenomorphs? Like, that's a hell of a coincidence. You know, it made sense with Ripley because it was the case of, we're bringing you back to the place where you've just escaped from. That's not a case of, well, she just happened to go somewhere different and, oh look, more xenomorph. That's essentially what they're doing here. But yeah, look, again, I enjoyed Romulus. Not the third act. The third act is horrible. But overall, and I don't like all the kind of over the top references. Especially the worst one has to be the "get away from her, you bitch" moment. But I still enjoyed the movie, and I did enjoy the characters of Rain and Andy, especially Andy. Andy was the standout character, but I never wanted to see more of them. Like, again, their story ended, and I was quite happy with it ending there. So it was like, if you're doing a new movie, surely you have to set it somewhere completely different and do different things with different people. And that's not the case. They're going back with these two characters, and the only reason we're going back through Fede Alvarez and his writing partner is to make sure they don't die. So well done for spoiling that and removing the stakes from the movie. So let us know what you think of this anyway, and what you think of his comments about this whole idea that nothing is going to happen to these two characters. Let us know. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.